Welcome everybody to Careers in Sight. My name is Derek Calvert. I'm the program manager for the Montana Educational Talent Search program. And we have an awesome guest here today in Cheryl Simpson. We get to talk with her about her many and various experiences and just everything that she's learned throughout her career in information technology and as a professor of Great Falls College. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself, Cheryl.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. My name is Cheryl Simpson, and I have the opportunity to both write software as a career, as a consultant, and to teach here at Great Falls College. So I have degrees in computer science and mathematics, and I'm working on my master's in cybersecurity right now, which is just such a fascinating field. But I found that being in kind of both worlds, being in the private industry, being able to continue programming and helping people to solve problems that way, and then teaching my students gives me this unique perspective in the universe. So,
yeah, and we're super excited to hear from you. I know that any and all of our viewers, can definitely benefit from hearing from you. As well as myself, I'm super curious to find out. I was reading the sign right to your left. I want to hire employees who can't finish their work, and I was a little curious about hearing.
Says no boss ever. That's the bottom line from it.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, as an instructor, I often find students that do the assignment was due on Friday and it's Thursday. Can I have another couple of days because I didn't get it done? I didn't get started. Students who call me on Saturday and say I didn't do it, can I turn it in late? And I found in the real world outside of education, your boss kind of doesn't like that. He may tolerate it the first time or two or three, but by the 8th time you ask for an extension, he's like, you know what, I can find somebody who will do their work. So no bosses like to hire people who don't do their work.
That's a good advice right there. And we're done. No more need for any more.
That's my tagline. We're done. Do your work.
Well, we can just jump on in, Cheryl. I know that obviously you've had lots of experience, but what in information technology and just in that career field, what does the typical day look like for you?
So it's interesting you asked me this at this point in my life. Right now, I'm a full-time faculty over at Great Falls College. So the majority of my day consists of dealing with my educational side of my job. So preparing my lessons for my students, teaching, answering questions, providing, teaching type stuff. Which, that's what teachers do. You get up in the morning, you go to work. At the college level, it's a little bit spoiling. So I get to make my own curriculum. I get to design the classes that I teach. I get to come up with the projects. And honestly, in IT, I am so project-based. It's not even, I give them quizzes if I have to, but everything is about getting your hands on a keyboard, getting your hands into the network, because I feel like most people, when they read a textbook, they're kind of bored and they need to really get started touching the keyboard, typing the commands, or playing with cables, or whatever it is you happen to be doing to really make that knowledge cement. So my day, I wake up when the sun is warm. I schedule my classes for starting at 11 because I'm not a morning person. But I come into class, I teach my students when necessary for whatever their schedule is. If I'm doing an online class, we usually have team meetings so that they can meet with me outside of regular hours. And that's usually what I'll do for the teaching side. And then, of course, there's grading, which is honestly, I know a lot of teachers don't really love grading. I love grading because I get to see exactly what the students got and what they didn't get and how I can change around my lecture next time to make it better. For the programming side, back when I was full-time consulting, spending all of my day would vary based on what stage in a project I'm in. So I would go to a client, whatever, and I would have the discussion of, okay, what is your biggest pain point? How can I make your life easier? What can I do to solve your problem? And they would say, we hate our interface for our human resources system, or we need a line development tool that will log every user that touches this device at this point, whatever it is, whether it's scanning a barcode or whether it's entering data entry. And then I'll go back and I'll develop them a solution, and I'll build a web app or a database backend or whatever it is I happen to do there. And I'll design them a solution that will make their life better. So the first couple of weeks will be development, writing documents, things like that. Next X number of months will be actual development, where you wake up, you have kind of a scrum meeting with the rest of the development team. This is what we're working on this week. This is what I'm working on today. What are you working on today? What are you working on today? How are we going to make it all mesh? And so you slowly start to build together, and you see this project just grow in front of you. It's fabulous. And then you get to interactions with the client, where the client says, I like this, I don't like this. Could you make this blue, this green? Could you change the size of this? I don't like that. And you go back and you keep editing and changing. And then finally you produce them a product that they're happy with, and they sign off, and you just feel so elated because you spent all this time and energy building this product, and they're happy and their pain point is gone and you've solved their problem. So as a consultant, I was able to set my own hours. Because it was my projects, I wanted to work. You know, you come home at the end of the day from a 9-to-5 job and you want to fall in front of the TV and eat dinner. I wanted to do more work because I wanted to make the product better, and I wanted to make it more user accessible, and I wanted to get it done faster or more of what the user wanted. Not that I didn't take breaks, totally take breaks, just take breaks whenever you want. But there would be times I'd be up till midnight, 3 in.the morning because I couldn't stop. It was just such a fun thing to work on.
Yeah. Wow. That's no, that's really great. You know, and I like when how you first said that you know, the IT field is very project based. You know, we're getting your hands on a keyboard. You know, so it kind of it makes me think, you know, especially for like any students who are listening in, that, you know, if you love typing, keyboarding, you know, if you've taken a coding class and it interests you, you know, this could definitely be a career for you, you know. And, and I didn't mention this before, but if you do have a question, please feel free to you know, comment. You know, with any question that we have, you know, if you're listening later on after this, after we're streaming live, you can still ask that question, and we'll do our best to get those answers for you. And so, Cheryl, what helped you get into this career field? Why did you decide to go into that?
So, without dating myself, back in the 80s when I got my first computer, my mother used to joke, because back in the 80s you didn't have a windowing system. So I figured out, because let me just put my hands on the keyboard, same concept, and figure it out. Just keep clicking buttons until it does what I want. And as a teenager at the time, I wasn't really afraid that I was going to break it. I still remember the gentleman that sold us our first computer. He said, okay, so the command is, you know, copy star.star or delete star.star, which was to delete your entire hard drive. Don't ever run that command. And as long as you don't do that, you're good. Like everything else is good. And so I sat there and I'm like, there has to be a way to understand this. And when I started finding the little programs in the background that said, hey, when you click this button, it runs this command and this command and this command, and the project opens up. I'm like, well, that's really cool. Can I change that? Look what I can do. And I felt so powerful at the time of, look what I can do with this computer. I can make it do stuff. So when I went to college down at UCSD in California, I started as a math major, thinking I did great in calculus in high school. I'm going to go teach math, which is ironic because I ended up with a math teaching degree, but that was later. So when I was down at UCSD, I realized math is kind of annoying and boring, and I don't want to do this. And so what else can I do with the fact that I know math, like I'm a math-ish person, very analytical. So I tried to go to economics, and that was just awful. Absolutely terrible choice. I bombed my classes. They were terrible. I can blame the instructor, but no, I was 18, 19, and I had no interest in the theory of economics. So I took my computer class. And it was a whim. I was bombing out. I had, I was in the middle of my sophomore year and I had these F's on my transcript. I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm going to go take a computer class and see how that goes. And I walked in and I'm like, this is cool. This is fun. This is like, and I walk out of that class and I go straight to the lab. Cause again, this is in the 90s by this point. You go to the computer lab and you just start typing and you just start coding and you're like, look, I made the timer go and it went 1, 2, 3 and it was so cool. And I just got that giddy feeling that said, this is what I'm supposed to do. And as I went through, I met my husband, we got married, I finished my degree, I had my family, and I still get that giddy feeling every time I start a new program. Like, this is cool. I get to do this. This is fun. Don't tell my clients because then they won't want to pay me anymore. But seriously, I love what I do.
That's great. And I know I believe you mentioned you're pursuing your master's right now in cybersecurity. Is that right? What made you want to go or look at doing that?
So a couple of different things. Here at Great Falls, we offer a AA program in computer programming, which is great. I got that down. I'm good. We also offer an AA in cybersecurity. While I've written secure code, being that, I've incorporated aspects of security in all of the software I've built, I never really looked at it from a cybersecurity point of view. And I realized that as a benefit both to the school that I'm teaching at, that I could teach courses in this field, I could make my software that I build better by incorporating a cybersecurity aspect to the development from end to end, from development and design all the way to the end of implementation. The kind of kick for me was I was going to wait until my kids finished college. So my oldest just graduated from Bozeman. My second's in Missoula, my third's in Bozeman, and my fourth is still at home. And I was like, I'm going to wait until all the kids are gone with college before I worry about my career. And I think it was a mixture of the Colonial Pipeline, which was just fascinating, watching the cybersecurity infrastructure in the universe that we live in today, realizing I don't have time to wait. I need to know this information now and get it into my head as soon as possible, both to share with my students and to incorporate in my own software. Just bit the bullet and applied and said, I'm just going to do this. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I'm taking it through Western Governors, which has the opportunity of kind of going at your own pace. So it isn't set up into regular semesters. It's 6-month terms, and you can kind of take as much or as little time as you need for each course to make sure you get everything out of the course. And so I'm enjoying my summer learning as much as I can about cybersecurity.
That's great. And I'm so glad that you love it and that you love what you do. I think it not only makes, obviously this interview just nicer because, we get to hear from somebody who just truly enjoys and loves what they do and loves sharing what they do with others. Obviously you're teaching it, so you have to enjoy it,
Yes.
At least somewhat in order to want others to do it as well. And then you're taking it even further with a master's. I think that's just commendable, and I really just appreciate that.
Thanks.
And with that, leave that in. What do you enjoy most about this? Just obviously you love it, you enjoy it, but if you could nail it down to one or two things, what would you say?
So what I find in the teaching aspect is when I find a student, and I have a couple of them, and if they ever see this, they'll know who they are, that when you watch them program, you get that aha moment where I'm struggling and I'm beating my head against a wall and I don't get it and I don't understand and why. And then a light bulb goes off and all of a sudden they do that aha. And usually in computers, it's followed by throwing your hands in the air and screaming, I'm a god, because you totally are, because look what you can do. Oh my God, I'm a god, it's so cool. And it's just like that joy, watching it in someone, you're like, you're a programmer. You know it. You own this and it's fabulous. So from a teaching point of view, those are my favorite moments where I can, and it's great these days because a lot of times I'll get a student on and we'll share screens with teams or something like that. And I'm watching them code and I'm looking at their code and I'm like, you're almost there. You got it. Come on. You're almost there. Yay. Come on. And then all of a sudden they'll get it. And I'm just like, I got to experience watching them get it. And it's fun. From the development point of view, when I watch a client who is struggling with whatever software solution they have, and it's usually painful, and they're like, and I have to click here and then go back, and then I have to copy, and then I have to paste, and I have to do, and I'm like, oh my God, that's painful. How do you not bang your head against the computer every day? And sometimes I do. I can build them a solution that makes it better. And when I go back to a client and they, it's been 6 months and everything's working fine. How's it going? It's great. Our productivity's through the roof. This did exactly what we wanted. Thank you so much. And that feeling of knowing that I did that, like that was me. Cool I am. It's like this great feeling of just validation for everything that I do and all the hard work and all the long nights. You get that great feeling of knowing you really, really helped somebody.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. I remember learning some coding language probably 10, 15 years ago and kind of going through it. And yeah, I remember being really stuck on a few things, and then, but then getting it figured out, whether it's like, oh, I had one extra letter or something in there,
Yep.
one extra
missing semicolon, something spelled wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just worked. And yeah, so it's pretty amazing.
Well, and I often tell students in that situation, when you find it, when you figure it out and you know what the answer is, if you breathe this ugly sigh of relief going, thank God it's over, I never have to think about it again, you're not a programmer. It's okay. You can do it if you really, really want to, but it's not your passion and might not be the direction you want to be in.
Yeah. Well, and that's really, I think that's good for, all of our students to hear too, is that, if, you are doing that, and it's like, just kind of glad, taking a deep breath, glad that that's done. That's what we really want is, as we look at the purpose of this is, we want each of you, our viewers to just find a career for you, specifically for you. We want you to love your career just as much as Cheryl loves hers. And so with every job, there's a difficult part too. So what would you say, Cheryl, is the most difficult part of your job?
As a teacher, probably my most difficult point is trying to tell a student that they just can't do this, that they don't have the desire, the time, the energy, the ability. It isn't a negative. I can't paint at all. Like I draw stick figures. Even in my math class when I was trying to draw geometric symbols and I couldn't do it because I can't do art. I accept that. That is just not my skill. Some students come into my class and they don't visualize it. They don't see it abstractly. They have such a hard time and they're trying so hard. And they're really doing the best they can. And I have to say, this probably isn't the field for you, but I want to play games all day. Well, that's not what we do here anyway, but this isn't, go find something that you love, something that you enjoy, something that doesn't make you hurt at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So as a teacher, finding that student who thinks this is the direction they want to go in, mom and dad told them go into technology, some story like that. If this isn't your field, this isn't your field. And you can't make it be your field. That's hard for me because I would love to be able to say everybody can code. Yeah, it's a brain functionality of being able to do it, and some people just don't have it. Sometimes in the real world, far away from education, the most difficult part of my job is telling a client, no, you can't add that feature even though I know you really want to, because we've already added 73 features and I want to finish the stupid project. So concept in coding that we call scope creep, where or feature creep, where I'm going to build X. Well, could you just make it do this too? Well, could you just make it do this too? And then sometimes clients keep asking, and at some point you have to stop and you have to be kind of hard and you have to say, we're done. it's over. If you want all those features, we're going to have to do another project. It's going to cost you more money, so on and so forth. It's hard. I don't like telling people no. Part of my personality, it's beneficial that in my company, my husband is my other half, and he has no problem telling people no. So I always make him do that conversation because I suck at it. But that's one of those things that really is hard in my job. I want to provide the moon and the stars and everything, but at some point I have to get paid. I had a client once that was originally a 3-month project. We priced it out as a 3-month project. It was going to be done in 3 months. We had provided exactly what they asked for. It extended into a year-long project, but the price didn't change because we fixed priced it. We were young and hungry and we didn't know. So I had to make my 3-month salary from my project last for a year because I wanted so badly to make this product what the customer wanted. So being able to pull back and being able to say, no, this is limits. We're stopping here. We will build something different later. It's all good. That's a hard part of my job.
And honestly, I mean, that can be a difficult part for any job, saying no, on any project, especially when it involves, other people, other customers, clients, coworkers, just telling somebody no, we're setting limits, can't do that. Yeah.
Yep.
So I can understand.
Well, and at some point you have to kind of pull it back to yourself and say, what can I reasonably do? And I have this conversation with my kids all the time about everybody has the same 24 hours in the day. It isn't that the people that are more productive have more hours. They don't. They just prioritize different things than you do. So if you're not being productive right now, it's because you prioritized playing on Facebook or, playing on your phone or watching TV, going out to dinner with your friends over learning new things, advancing your career, building new projects. You the priorities sits, and that's how you become successful. So just define where your priorities sit. Sometimes I have to tell clients, sorry, I've got another client that came in while you were figuring stuff out. I can't give you 100% right now, or something like that.
Yeah. And that, is honestly even leads to our next question about just any advice. I mean, priorities, prioritizing is definitely some great advice right there. But any advice specifically for high school students looking into this career field?
So computers and IT is this really interesting field. Even 20, 30, maybe 40 years ago, if you wanted new information about a topic, you would have to go to the local library and find it there. Everything is so available right now that there really isn't any limitations on what you can know. There's Khan Academy, there's YouTubes, there's blogs, there's different places that you can go to find information. High school student, I would recommend looking into dual credit as soon as possible. One of the things I pushed with my kids while they were getting ready to go to college, we went to a Class C school, which was a little difficult because they didn't have as many opportunities for electives. They didn't have a lot of computer classes that students can take. My kids were one of my 4 is into computers, but so I pushed them into dual credit. Start getting your dual credit out of the way. Start doing your core classes now. All 3 of the ones that are in college started college with over 40 credits of college because they had their history and their English and their math and their science all down. They had a couple of introductions to this and introductions to that so that they could figure out what was the thing they wanted to do. My second right now is in Missoula doing anthropology, and he's so cute about it because he loves it. It is this, when he starts talking about it, he gets that giddy thing going on in his voice and his eyes, and starts talking. And I have no idea what he's saying because I don't know what any of the words are, but that's okay. He loves it. And his first class was an intro to anthropology class here at Great Falls while he was still a high school student. So while he was still in high school, start taking some intro. My daughter took an intro to psych. She's currently a psych major down at Bozeman. Take your intro classes while you're still in high school. And you can go, and I actually made my daughter take one of my intro classes here at Great Falls in computers. She hates it, absolutely hates it with a passion. She will never do computers. It's not her thing. And that's good. You learned that. Go take classes and find out if it's your thing. If you love history, go take a history class. If you love science, go take a science class. But do it now while you're in high school. About 30 years ago, 20 years ago, however long it was that I went to school the first time, using college to figure out who you are and what you wanted was fine. College wasn't that expensive. These days, it's huge. And the whole student loan thing, and if you can avoid the student loan thing at all, I recommend that highly. The scholarships that are available here between the university system scholarships and the different scholarships from your local schools give you so many things, but they usually put this irritating caveat that says you can't stop. So if you get a 4-year tuition waiver because you're just that awesome, you have to go for 4 solid years. You can't take a year off to find yourself. You have to keep going. So if you can use the time that you're a junior and senior to really figure out what direction you want to go in, it makes the years that you have in college that much more beneficial, using up the time to do what you want rather than using the time to figure out what you want. And starting out, I mean, like I said, the dual credit is great. If you're into computers, if you want to go down this route, here at Great Falls, we're trying a new concept in the fall with HighFlex. So HighFlex is this combination of in-person, synchronous, so at the same time online, and then asynchronous at your own pace online. All 3 at the same time with the same instructor with the same class. So you can choose to come to class on Tuesdays and Thursdays and be in class with me, and it's recorded. And you can choose on Mondays to watch it at the same time at 11 to 12 or whatever time the class is. And then on Wednesdays, you can watch the recording. So you can make that work around your schedule, whether you work full-time or whether you work part-time, and you can't make a 4-day-a-week class, but you could watch it later, or you could watch, show up 2 days and so on and so forth. So we're trying to push our programming degree into that realm where all of the classes will be offered HighFlex. Students can choose between an online entirely, half online, half in person, and then in person. And I find that different students really relate to that showing up in person and having the instructor in front of them. And some really like to pull back and like to be on their own and have their own time. So that way we're trying to kind of meet everybody where they are.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, great advice. I know that's something that we always try to encourage, all of our students to do is, dual credit, really searching what you want to do right now, before you get to college, for sure.
Well, one of the things that I found with IT, with computers, it doesn't matter which direction you end up going in. If you're going to go into web design, if you're going to go into networks, if you're going to go into cyber, if you're going to go into, low-level programming, you can never stop learning. You have to stay up to date all the time with all the new trends and all the new technology that's coming out. And it's hard for a lot of people to realize that learning is not a destination, it's a journey. You do it forever, you never stop. So I always try to schedule between an hour or 2 every week to just go learn something, whether it's something new or whether it's reiterating stuff I already know. Is there a conference I can go to? Is there a webinar I can attend that's just going to give me just a little bit of knowledge? But if you do an hour a week, you've got 52 hours of new knowledge every year. That's great. That'll keep you up to date, and it'll keep you really employable once you get into the real world.
Yeah. Incredible advice. Thank you, Cheryl, so much for your vast experience, your enjoyable attitude and love for your job. We just really appreciate that. And I know students who are watching this later on afterwards, please comment. We will get a hold of Cheryl with any questions that you have for her. I know that obviously we have this whole summer and ahead of us before school starts, but we really want you guys to keep looking, keep searching, and so we're gonna keep doing these as much as we can throughout the summer to help you find your career of choice. So once again, thank you, Cheryl, and that ends our broadcast. See you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.